Welcome to Fuel Youth Online. Thank you so much for joining us this evening on YouTube, on the line, on Fuel Youth. Today, tonight, this morning, whenever you're watching this, it's a very, very important day for us. This month is an important month for us. This month we are celebrating Women's Month, and it's such an important topic that we want to speak about in the youth, because we know that in South Africa right now we are facing a huge pandemic, and I'm not talking about coronavirus. I'm talking about gender-based violence, and this month we really want to be a voice for the voices. We want to be a voice for the youth, and saying that we can actually stand up and make a change, that we can make a radical change, we can make cultural change in our community. And we just want to come together and speak and have discussions about how we can express ourselves, and just about how we can be better, how we as young people can do better than previous generations in some circumstances. And so I really want to welcome everyone that has been joining us today, but also want to welcome our beautiful panel, not panel beaters. I'm talking about a beautiful panel. Okay, I don't know why I said that. I don't So this beautiful panel, I'm going to start off with Debene Yordan, Deb J. She is going to be leading us in today's conversation. I'm so excited. Debene is one of our field youth leaders, incredible leader. So thank you so much, Debene, for joining us today. And then under Debene, okay, I don't know how this thing will appear, but under Debene we have Jade or Jade Down. Jade Diamonds, an incredible team leader that we have on our leadership team. Thank you so much, Jade, for joining us. She's actually, I don't know who is the leader of the Fuel Youth Cafe. I don't know who's between Wade, Jade, and Polita. Someone is in charge there. I don't know who's in charge, but we'll talk about it later. And then we have Wade Lee. Wade Lee, will I say hello, Wade? Hello, hi, Wade.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Working with the beanie. She's actually famous for her beanie. In every Zoom meeting, she literally has that beanie on. I don't know who's beanie. Sometimes I think she's going to rob someone, but it's fine. I understand, it's part of the look.
Oh my word.
Welcome, baby. We have Paul. How about Police? Polisa, she is such a gem. We all love Polisa. Polisa is an amazing leader, powerhouse. She's really great. She's rocking the afro today. She's rocking the afro and the glasses. So we love to see it. Yeah, we love to see it. And then we have the one and only, the writer, the singer, the songwriter, the actor, I don't know, the evangelist. I don't know what else. I don't know. Well, we have Alexandra Dennis. What an incredible leader. She's such a vibe. She always brings the vibe, the energy. You know, when Alex is around, no one is going to be sad. That's when we know when Alex is around, we're not going to be sad. And then, so welcome, Alex. Love to see you, man. And then right next to me, we have. She was almost by 2 years. Almost. Just she missed it by 2 years. But we have Kanyisile, who's one of our directors here at Fuel Youth. She's also my sister. She's known to be she's known for my brotherhood, sisterhood. I don't know, but she's known to be my sister. That's why she's famous. She's famous because I am. Otherwise, okay. So welcome, Kanye. And then we have the great, the one, the only. I was saying right now, the female Jesus in Uitenhage. We have Olivia Gardner. She is the youth can I say youth pastor? No, youth worker.
No.
Youth. Oh, she's working.
Leader. Just go with youth leader.
Working on the pastor part. Okay, so she is the youth leader of Sold Out Baptist Youth. Baptist Church Youth Uitenhage Baptist Church Youth. Yes, we love to see it. Olivia is a very, very close friend of mine. We have coffee a lot of times, but then we also set coffee dates. But then it
never happened.
We don't respect our schedules. But I love Olivia so much. Olivia is such an incredible leader, and thank you so much, Olivia, for joining us. We really appreciate you, dude. Much love.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, love and light. Yeah. So, guys, I am going to be off, as this is a girls' discussion. It's a girls' panel. So I am not a girl. So I shall exit myself from the room, and I will give over to the great DEBZ Debs Jordan.
No, I thought it was.
Thank you so much, guys. See you tomorrow.
Okay, great. Nice. Okay, so thanks so much to Bushre for that warm welcome. And then thank you all ladies for joining. Thank you for taking the time. I know it's not easy with schoolwork and everything and data even, but really just thank you for this. Yeah. So as you guys know, BBV or gender-based violence is a huge pandemic that we are facing. It's becoming a lot more serious lately, a lot more closer to home, and that's why this panel is just so important. I know a lot of people try to do a lot of things, but I think simply speaking about it is really where it's at, to like create awareness and to educate others. So that's why we're here today. So I sent out a few questions. I'll start with that. We'll just see where the conversation goes, okay? Good. Great. Okay. So you know how all of us have kind of faced some form of gender-based violence in our lives, but maybe we didn't even realize it because it's been normalized. And it's even been normalized amongst us girls. We would say something like, oh, this guy just touched me, like it's nothing, you know? So I just would like to hear from you guys. What are the ways in which GBV experiences has been normalized for ourselves and amongst us as girls? Just in simple conversations, we take it as it's nothing, but in actual fact, it is a problem. It is something. So what are the ways in which GBV has been normalized? Anyone?
So, when I saw gender-based violence trending and everything like that, well, not trending because it's not trending, it's very important. But when I started seeing people raise more awareness about it and like people actually speaking about it for once, it was very shocking for me because I kind of started to see all of those things play out in my life and things that I've experienced as well. Because it's almost like because it's been normalized, like you say, we just think there's no need for me to say anything about it because the way that we were taught about gender-based violence and everything was black and white. And when you're caught in like this gray area, it's like, no, I'm not even going to tell anyone about it because no one's probably going to say anything, or they're probably going to come up with an excuse, or boys will be boys, or something along those lines. And I think that really, really isn't okay because it kind of sets a really, really, really bad. It sets a really bad tone for girls in the way that they see themselves and how they look at the guys as well, how they look at the other gender. So, yeah, that's me.
Okay. Can I add on?
Thank you, Alice.
Yeah, that was just appetizer, put on the table.
Can I?
Yes. Anyone else?
Can I say something?
Oh, Jade, okay.
Yeah, for me, I think I wrote some things down because I don't want to forget what I want to say. So I think it's like maybe like in relationships where a guy would be disrespectful towards like the female, and in a way they kind of manipulate the girl into thinking that okay, no, like, or into thinking it's okay, which it's really not. And I think it stems from like the disrespect, and then it leads to emotional abuse and physical abuse and all of those type of things. And then another thing that it also kind of touches on what Alex said, it's it's been so normalized that like for many years, I think especially like in South Africa or even in the world, gender-based violence has just been swept under the rug. Nobody ever spoke about it. I think it's only now that people, or there's an increase in cases and the brutality of murders, and girls speaking about past experiences and things that they are experiencing now that is coming out into the light. Because for so many years, women have been raped, for example, and nobody ever spoke about it. So I think it's only now that people are actually speaking about it, coming out into the light. And from there, I hope there's a lot of change. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Great. Thank you.
And I think also, like, there's so many things. Like, it's not just one thing. And I think that's many people get confused, you know, girls get confused and they try and kind of come up for the guys and they come up for the other people where, no, this is not what I was taught when I was younger. But bottom line is, if you're feeling uncomfortable and if you feel like you're being violated and your human rights are not being put as a priority, then it's wrong, you know, and that no means no. And there's no excuse or there's no possible way of changing that answer if your final answer is no. And I think one of the rules, or not rules, something that girls usually do, it kind of shocked me to realize what it stemmed from. So I think it was about last year, and I was at an event, and there were about like eight of my friends. And at some point, one of us was like, we need to go to the bathroom. Obviously, all nine of us went to the bathroom. And it kind of left the guys with that question when we came back with, like, what do you guys actually do? Like, why do you need nine to hold people up? Or what? Is there some sort of system that's going on there? And I know for a fact that some of my friends, we didn't know what to say because we didn't know. It's just when you say you're going to the bathroom, it's automatic. I'm going with. And then I realized one of the very first things that we're taught when we're younger is that there's safety in numbers. And even though it was really vague, some parents may have explained it quite well. Some girls may have known. I was just told there's safety in numbers, never be alone. And as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old already just walking with another person to make sure, that kind of sets you up for living in fear your whole life. From 3, from 4, from 5, and it's not normal. And we shouldn't be working around gender-based violence, trying to accommodate ourselves and make ourselves feel safe around it. We should eradicate the actual problem and deal with it hands-on. So we shouldn't normalize it anymore, and we should speak out, especially as Christians.
If I can jump in here, I like what Alex said there. I personally, a lot of my friends know you're not allowed to use the excuse "boys will be boys" around me. I hate it. It must be erased from the English language or whichever other language it exists in, because I think therein stems the problem. Like Alex has said, we've been taught these things from a really, really young age to the point where it does feel normal to you. It feels like going to the bathroom in a group is it's just we do that because that's how we've been taught our whole lives. And then in saying that, in the same way, then we realize guys are taught from a young age that boys will be boys because that's what they've been taught their whole lives. So I think part of the problem of the normalization of these issues is it's stuff that you get taught at a really, really young age, really innocently. And it makes practical sense when you're young. When you're 5 or 6, I'm definitely sending my kids to the bathroom in groups, not because I'm scared they're going to get kidnapped or something, because they're children. One's going to run off and the other one's going to do that. But then as you get older, it becomes a thing of safety, And in the same way, if you're going to teach young boys will be boys when they're small, and it's an excuse for their terrible behavior. Do you really expect them to know differently when they're older? In their foundation, the foundation has been laid that I can get away with certain behavior because boys will be boys, So I think part of the problem in the normalization is how we're teaching our kids, what we're teaching our kids. It's like Alex said, or Jade said, it's not a new thing. This is not something that just started happening all of a sudden. It's just become more spoken about. And I think we need to not just address the outward symptoms of what is going on, but really look at the root of the problem of what are we teaching our boys at very young ages? What are we teaching our girls at very young ages? I'm sure we're all girls. We've all experienced double standards, and it's very frustrating. There's certain things we have to do simply because we're girls that boys don't have to do because they're boys. And again, I feel like it just feeds into this culture when you get older that no, girls are always going to do that because that's how they were raised. But then boys are going to behave like boys because that's how they've been raised. So we need to change our teaching methods because you can't, it's much easier to teach a child something than to try and unteach an adult something.
Yeah.
So clearly, gender-based violence has been normalized in so many ways from our childhood already. Even what Alex said was really shocking to me because I was like, oh yeah, damn, that's me, that's us, If I go to the bathroom alone, I'm so freaked out because it feels so weird, which is just crazy. Like it's been instilled in us from such a young age already. But yeah, so can I maybe hear from Polisa? What are your thoughts on how gender-based violence experiences has been normalized just amongst all of us?
Whoops.
Yeah.
It has been what?
Has been normalized amongst us.
Okay. For me personally, I feel like it's not only me personally, it hasn't only been normalized in my childhood, but also in my environment. It's like the little things, man, like how as girls you're taught that how you dress measures your safety in society when you leave your house. What you're wearing measures when you're going to be able to be safe and when you're not going to be able to safe. What you say, what you do, who you're around. And for me, it's also been normalized in the way that, have you ever been told when you leave the house, no, you can't go alone, go with your brother or get a guy to go with you?
Yeah.
That for me has normalized that even though our lives are at risk at the hands of men, we're still forced to only be safe when we're around men, to believe that we're not going to be safe on our own leaving the house. And for me, it's also the fact that most of the time in gender-based violence cases, girls are always asked, oh, what were you doing? Did you provoke him? The little faults, and it's so many things that we as females had to unlearn growing up that actually, no, this is not how it's like, that's not true. So for me personally, it was instilled in me from childhood already, and certain aspects, even though even the fact that wearing revealing clothing makes you less safe. And I mean it's a constant decision that you make that as a female, you're not going to be safe wearing what you're wearing. And for me, I realized growing up that it starts with literally us, and there's a lot of unlearning we have to do. And I feel this is a discussion where we learn that even though it was instilled in us, it's now our responsibility to take back what was taken away from us, that safety that was taken away from us, that right to speak and to know better that was taken away from us. And now give it back to ourselves by unlearning everything that was taught to us growing up and learning from each other and picking each other up as females. So for me, it's definitely been growing up, but I know that it's unlearning is like I can unlearn these things and we can teach each other along the way as females also. So it's not like we're trapped, but we do need each other as females to unlearn and to like create a better path moving forward, like realizing that where the faults were growing up.
Great, I love it. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay, something that I also think that we normalize sometimes is that when we see like if we had to go on our Instagram feed now, we would see like another post of a girl that got raped or something like that, and then sometimes we have this mindset of, oh, it's another girl, and I think that's so wrong because she's an individual, you know, and we should respect that and actually take a moment of silence and just like remember her name and just remember that she is human. She's not just another girl. So yeah, that's something I feel like we normalize sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So true.
And I think for me, it's just like also what contributes is also just like the misuse of like scripture, and the misinterpretation of scripture has an impact on that. And I think also just like as a Christian woman and how men and other females can just be like, you know what, like just forgive, you know, just like forgive, move on. And I feel like people can kind of like, I don't know, like force forgiveness, and it's like, you don't owe forgiveness to anyone. You know what I mean? Like forgiveness is something that really comes from your heart. And I think, I don't know, just kind of like, yeah, no, just forgive, move on, forgive, move on. It's like, it's not that easy. And I think also just like accountability is such an important thing. Even though everyone sins, and that's and that's just like life. But I think just being held accountable of like, yo, bro, but like you messed up and you need to know that you messed up. So like, yeah.
Love it. Thank you so much. Wow. There's so many aspects that this normalized, eh? Like in so many aspects of our lives. Wow. Okay. So can we go to the next question? Is it fun? Does anyone have anything to add? Okay. Okay. Great. So, you know how maybe you experience some like gender-based violence type of thing, and at that time you don't know what to do or you don't know how to stand up for yourself. I'd like to know if you guys know any ways in which us girls can stand up for ourselves and stand up for others. You know, it's easy to say that if somebody gropes me, I'll run away or I'll punch him. You know, that's what we say. It's easy to say it, but when the things happen, it's much harder. Even messages, people are like flirting on Facebook or on Instagram and just being so disrespectful, and we kind of don't know how to respond because we're in such shock, or we're watching it in public and we just don't know what to do. So basically, my question is, what is it that we can do as girls to stand up for ourselves and to stand up for other girls that might be experiencing a form of gender-based violence?
Well,
can I answer, or can you go?
Okay.
Okay.
I feel like for me the biggest like thing, or like one of the things, is just like speaking up when you see something, speaking up when you like feel something. You're not really just being quiet, because I think being quiet kind of just gives the impression that, oh, okay, like I'm okay with this, and it's like, no, like that's not cool. So I think it's very important to even speak up for other people. I know, like just in the world that we live in, if you're literally walking down the street and you just see a guy slaps a girl and you're like, it's not my problem. I don't know what's going on, so I'm not going to get myself involved. And I do kind of get that because you might get hurt in the process. But I think maybe calling the police or just like doing anything to stand up for another female is like an important thing. So just like, speaking up, creating awareness, and just showing that we're actually not going to stand for this. It's literally been decades of this abuse and this mentality, and we just are over it, we're fed up, and this is not okay. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. Lisa, did you want to speak?
For me, I feel like it's like, I love the way you chose the word stand up. For me, it's like so much more than just speaking out. Like, it's so much more than just running away or like the reflex. But it's also like the little things that we allow, like a touch on the shoulder that is uncomfortable. Like, oh, but I mean, it's like, as females, I feel like we should be able to, we don't necessarily all have to be best of friends, but if you see that another girl is in danger, or even like feels a bit uncomfortable, you can see when someone's uncomfortable, right? So like when another girl is uncomfortable, I feel like we should normalize like having a pact in every aspect of our lives, whether we're at church, at school, like at an event. Like, we should be able to go to another female like, hey, listen, I don't know you, but like I feel uncomfortable around this group of guys, they did this to me. We shouldn't have to like ask other questions like, no, I don't know you. Like, just a sisterhood, to be able to go up to another girl in confidence, knowing that she'll have your back. Like, we don't need to be like friends and everything, but we should at least give the bare minimum of supporting each other. And I feel like in terms of like individually, we should not just like stand up and act, but also like reevaluate our own like environments. Sometimes it's not a thing of like standing up like in a violent situation, but it's the little thing that guy said to you at the family event, you know, like it's the thing of like being able to have our voices, being able to stand up on our own and speak up for ourselves, not only like in a confrontational situation, but in every aspect. Because not every form of gender-based violence is going to be violent. Sometimes it's going to be subtle. Sometimes it's going to be a look. Sometimes it's going to be the way someone is speaking to you, you know. And I feel like we should be able to, like, in every moment, be able to speak up. And it's like scary and everything, but I feel like if we normalize it in our environments, it will become a habit. Like, it's a part of our daily lives to stand up for ourselves and speak up for ourselves that, no, I don't like what you're doing to me. Or just even simple walking away could even make a difference.
Yeah. Totally. Thanks so much.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
And I think with that, whether it's a stranger or a loved one, I feel that whether you know the person or it's just something that you see happening, or it's honestly just a loved one, I think, can you guys hear?
Yes.
Okay. I think that we should like feel the need to insist that they maybe call a hotline, because there are hotlines for a reason, or sometimes even if the person doesn't feel comfortable with it, or if you can see that the situation is like dangerous, or that, I don't know, it's just a really uncomfortable situation, you can that if you were that person, would you feel uncomfortable with that happening to you? Then I think that maybe you should call on behalf of your friend or on behalf of this person. And I think you can call anonymously. I think you can. So I think hotlines are there for a reason. They're there to help. So yeah, that's what.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks so much.
I think more than anything, the devil works harder, guys. Hard. You know, it's like he has strategies on strategies. Because what I've been noticing is when this happened, not only did he send through gender-based violence and the spirit of perversion. But it was so many things. Like I would open up Instagram and I would see everything. Literally, I would see crises happening in other places. I would see what's happening in this country, what's happening in that country. And it's like you don't know what to share. You don't know, must I be an ally or not? You don't know if you should speak up or not. You don't know whether it's your place or not. And he's trying to trick us. He's trying to create such a cloud of things around us so that he knows, no shame. If I put all of these things around them, what's gender-based violence? They'll forget about it in a week and then it will be fine. And then it will be normalized again. And then I can pull through. That's my loophole because that's what they allow me to do every single time. And we need to say no, because one thing that we need to understand is the enemy has already been overcome. We've already won. And we need to stop acting like we should accommodate what's happening.
Yeah.
And I truly believe everything. I'm taking from everything that you guys have said now. We need to stand up, even if it's on behalf of someone else.
Yeah.
And because gender-based violence, it does not discriminate. It tackles every religion, every economic condition. It tackles people who are living in double stories, people who are living in penthouses, and people who literally have nothing. And that's why we need to stand together as women, because no matter where we are, we're still vulnerable.
Wow, lovely. Thank you.
If I can just jump in here. I think another way, and I think Kanye mentioned it, is accountability. Holding our guy friends accountable for whatever. And that doesn't mean, and I want to be very clear on this doesn't mean bashing them over the head with information and calling them bad names and all of those things. But we're not in the room when weird conversations are happening. But I want to know that they are still, when whatever conversations are happening in locker rooms or on rugby fields or wherever, that I mean so much to them, that Kanye means so much to them, that Alex, they have so much respect for the girls in their lives that they have no choice but to stand up and say something and do something. And a scary, whether we know it or not, a scary statistic is majority of the time when the extreme violence happens, it's somebody you know. It's somebody within your friend circle or your family. A lot of the times you can hear the interviews, people going, I never expected it from X, Y, and Z. I didn't think he was capable of these things. But there is somebody in their life. I guarantee there's somebody in that person's life who's like, I saw a red flag. I saw a red flag and I didn't do anything. And I think our voices are being heard at the moment, and in that way we can constantly, I don't want to say constantly, but that the guys around us, the men in our lives, are so aware of what's happening that when they see the red flags, that they will do something, that it doesn't just rely on us. It's not just, the buck doesn't fall on us. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've been in situations where I was like 110% chilled, confident, totally okay, didn't think anything was going to happen. And then somebody does something or says something that's just so out of left field, like you never saw it coming, literally. And you're like, whoa, what just happened? Like, how? And in that moment, like I think Debonair said, in that moment, your reaction is like, you're so slow to react because you're still trying to process.
Yeah.
But there are other people around you. There are his friends who are standing there they're uncomfortable. They don't want to laugh, but they're also not going to say something. I would hope in that moment that as my friend, as somebody who cares about me, I have a brother, I have a brother-in-law, I have a father, I have great men in my life, that I would be so important to them, they would have to do something and say something and make a difference. Because I don't want all the responsibility to fall just on girls. Because like I said, majority of the time it's going to be somebody you know. Like it's somebody's husband, it's somebody's boyfriend, and we're not going to be there. I'm not going to be there to step in and help. But your next door neighbor is there, or his brother or your brother there, and they can step in and do something. So I think for me, a big way to help girls is to also empower boys to know their role, to know their responsibility, to be like, listen, yeah, if I have to take self-defense classes to walk down the street, don't you think there's something wrong with that? I think there's something innately wrong with the fact that I have to, be so aware of my surroundings when I just want to go down the street to buy a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
I want to know that I can trust the people around me. And if against my better judgment, if somebody in my circle that I do trust ends up not being who I think they are, that there will be somebody else who will be able to step in and help when help is needed, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense.
It does. Thank you. Really.
Can I just say something, guys? Can I say something?
Please do.
I just wanted to say, to add on to what Olivia said, like what really stood out for me is that often like someone will tell us something about somebody else in relation to like gender-based violence, something that could be a danger to our lives. And we as females, we often have the mentality that, oh, but like he's not like that with me. Or, oh, he's such a nice person to me, or like that's never happened to me, or, oh, I can't believe, like we should stop like normalizing how a person acts in front of us as how they truly are. Like we should be able to trust, like if someone is coming to us with something that happened to them from someone we know, we should immediately act on that and not wait for it to happen to us before we can believe the friend that just told us, before we have to see it for ourselves. That's just what I wanted to add on.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Ray. That's truly something we face regularly. We don't even realize we're doing it at the time. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Can I just add also that going back to what Polisa said before in the beginning, when you mentioned like how we should stand up and stuff, I feel like that's so important, because when someone does stand up, that encourages others to stand up.
Yeah.
And it just creates this ripple effect. And that's only like that's one of the ways that's gonna, like give women more power and just confidence to stand up and let us hear their story.
Great. Thanks so much. So since we are speaking about standing up and like encouraging ourselves and other girls to stand up and so on, what advice would you give to someone who is scared to stand up? I mean, for obvious reasons, maybe they don't want to be that person, or they don't want that attention. We get just so much backlash from standing up. You don't even want to look at the guy funny because you're scared of his reaction. So like, what advice would you give to someone who's afraid to do these things? It's such simple things. It's merely having a conversation or walking away. But even then, we can be scared. So what advice would you give?
I would say tell somebody. It doesn't have to be somebody who's going to actively do something, but tell somebody so that somebody else knows as well. I read somewhere that apparently you can, I'm thinking specifically like in relationships where physical abuse is happening, you can tell your doctor without having to open a case so that they have the records of that. And I want to use that principle to say all of us have people in our lives that we trust. You can call in emergency situations. So if you have if you're close relationship with your mom or your sister or one of your youth leaders, somebody you trust, tell them. Okay, you don't have to go into grave detail. You don't have to, give them the full picture, just so that if something happens, I'm thinking like one time I was in a situation that was super awkward, and I had somebody on speed dial who didn't even ask me questions. I just said, come and get me, and they came and got me. And it's something so small that can make such a big difference. You don't have to tell your story to the whole nation. Everybody doesn't need to know, but tell somebody for your own sake, for your own protection, and also that if, heaven forbid, if something does happen to you, I watch a lot of like crime thingies. If you do go missing, the first 48 hours is very important. So if somebody knows, okay, there's been an issue here before, we know where to start looking and not just guessing. I know these are very extreme situations, but let's be real, the country we currently live in is a little bit scary. And that extreme circumstances require extreme, situations. I said that completely incorrectly, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So I would absolutely say tell somebody, or write things down, write these incidents down, so that we have something to go off, But most importantly, and Alex has said this, is the devil's working really hard. Okay, and one of his biggest tactics is fear. He's trying to make us scared. He's trying to terrify the living daylights out of us. But as Alex said, we already have the victory. We have weapons that at our disposal that we can use. And when you're scared and when you're terrified and when the things around you don't make sense, and you don't, or you even feel like there isn't somebody you can talk to, you can always talk to God. You can 110% tell him, Lord, this happened and I am scared. I am terrified. Help me. Okay. And it sounds so Christianese to say that, but I've also been in situations where the only reason I didn't freak out was because I had the peace of God with me that he's going to work it out. I'm scared right now. It doesn't make sense right now, but God is always with me. And he will take me through this. He will walk beside me and pull me out on the other side. So tell Jesus, firstly, and tell somebody you trust. So those are my 2 pieces of advice.
Beautiful. Thank you. Love it. So now we kind of covered a lot of the practical things, a lot of the experiences itself, and the actions to it and all of that. So I'd just like to know, really, how does these experiences make you feel? How does it feel to be facing this pandemic right now? How does it feel to be groped or to be catcalled or to be anything, to be commented or looked at in a certain way? How does it make you feel as an individual, as a person, as a female? Because one big thing for me for a long time was just catcalling. Because I'd walk to a lot of places and I'd be catcalled all the time. And it really, really hurt me. It affected my self-esteem so much. And I couldn't understand, because they say nice things, They said, oh, you're so pretty, whatever. They're saying good things. And it rather hurt my self-esteem and it hurt me rather than uplifted me or made me happy, I didn't feel complimented, but I just felt so vulnerable in that moment and just so violated that they look at me with those eyes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And they see nothing wrong with it.
Nothing.
It's normalized.
Dude, what are you doing? How are you putting me in this situation? How are you saying these things and thinking, okay, I'm going to reciprocate the vibes? And then the problem is, then it comes to, is there something I said that made you think that this is okay?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah.
And you're high. Yeah, guys. So I literally, running is admin now as well. I can't even go like jogging anymore because I must change routes. But the route that I like to run is nice. It's uphill and it's just perfect. It's the perfect distance. It's 5K on the dot. But I can only do it twice a week, once a week because of how dangerous it is.
Yeah, some girls are even scared to even go running alone.
At all. I'm telling you.
100%.
And I think what you said is when they catcall you, they see you uncomfortable. That's the one thing that they see you uncomfortable, but they continue. And it's not okay. Then they continue saying nice things. It's why are you walking away, or why are you doing this? I don't understand. So if someone knows, please explain.
Yeah,
because it's
Yeah, and I think also just like the whole like mentality of like saying that to a female and then just seeing the fear in her eyes and just seeing it's just like I don't know, it kind of like makes them feel like men and like and it's like for me that whole mentality is problematic. And I think for me like a couple of days ago I was jogging with my friend, and we were jogging and then like three guys like approached us, and then we were like walking like towards each other, and then we cross the road because guys, it's scary, but like we don't know if we should go back, like just keep walking. It's kind of like, okay, should I walk past him, or like and then we're like checking our pockets, and I'm like, friend, like I don't have any money on me, don't you have? Because like for me it's like the whole mentality of like it's better having money, so I know that they're just gonna rob me, and like, well, like that's cool. Just take my cell phone, take whatever you want, instead of like raping or killing me. So it's better of like, okay, I have money, so it's like, okay, cool, I'm good. And I think for me that whole mentality is just like, I don't know, it's just very scary place to be in. Yeah, it's just messed up.
And you know what? It doesn't just happen when you're alone. I've actually been in situations where my dad was walking next to me or my brother was walking next to me and the catcalling still happens. And I'm just like, it was actually really funny the one time. Well, it's funny now. My brother and I were walking somewhere and some dudes driving past in the car were like whistling out the car. And my brother looked back and he was so confused. He was like, what is that? And I'm like, that is the life of a girl. That's what happens every day. Okay, it's nothing new. It's you just learn to live with it. Okay. So there isn't even it's just a girl thing, like it only happens when you're alone or just in a group of girls, and it comes back to that accountability thing, that you would hope that there's one person in the car who'd be like, dude, that's not okay, don't do that. Yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah,
it is.
guys, I think
sometimes wait, can I speak?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say sometimes.
No, I'm saying you can speak. You just have 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of the call.
Oh no, sometimes like it's not just even catcalling. Like it can just be looks, like how they look at you, and that just makes you uncomfortable. Yeah, like dehumanizing almost.
It is. Wow. Yeah, guys, it's tense and wild out there. I used to think that when I started driving that the catcalling would stop, and lo and behold, it didn't. People will pull up next to me and they'll still catcall me. They'll stop at the red robot and they'll still speak or try to get my attention. It's really wild. But okay. Can you see there what's happening?
No, I'm saying that the Zoom call is 5 minutes left, so it's gonna.
Are we gonna start again, or are we gonna end?
No, we're gonna close now.
Oh, okay.
This is what happens when you put a bunch of girls together.
Honestly.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for your
thing. I just feel like I just wish, if a guy is gonna be watching this, best be listening. But I just feel like I wish guys would understand that, like, it's more than just being scared. Like the things guys do have long-term effects. Like for me personally, like one guy doing a wrong to me will affect the way I look at every other guy. Like now it's like, oh, every guy now must be like, because I don't know if you're gonna be like the guy I just passed, like the person who just catcalled me. I wish people would, like, guys realize that they literally have long-term effects, even the way you live your life. Now you feel like you can't be in that certain area ever again because now you're gonna, like, I just wish people, like, guys realize that everything you do will have a long-term effect. Even girls, like even the smallest thing, like you say to a person, can have a long-term effect on the way they live their life. And it's so serious. Even the cat call, like just a whistle can have a long-term effect on a person. And I wish guys knew that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Done, guys.
Love it. Thanks so much, guys. Thank you, everyone. We could probably speak on this topic for hours. Maybe we can do it again sometime. But really, thank you. I think we've learned a lot. Me too. I think we learned a lot, and I think we created awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I see it?
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us in our Fuel Youth YouTube channel. Today was an amazing talk, and I think we've just really touched on so many amazing subjects, and I really hope that this talk reaches somewhere and it really makes a difference in our world. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us, and see you next week for the boys talk, guys, for the boys talk next week. Thank you so much.